Coming up in minutes on KRQE News 13 this morning, a lesson in appropriate behavior.
Find them now!
A classroom issue that supposedly set this teacher off, plus how the district is responding to his outburst. Plus your input on a big budget, where you can give your opinion on how Bernalillo County spends its money. And firefighters on the front lines. How many acres of wildfire near Ruidoso has already scorched, and the challenges crews could face in putting it out today. Good morning, everybody. 6 a.m. here on KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Adam Atchison. It's Tuesday, March 29th. As you wake up right now, we're facing a big increase in fire danger, and classes are canceled in Ruidoso as firefighters work to contain a fire burning near the village. Firefighters will be back on the front lines this morning, hoping to gain an edge before the winds get stronger in the coming hours. As of now, there have not been any evacuations ordered for the Moon Mountain fire yet, but authorities say they could be coming. The fire is currently burning about 175 acres above Gavilan Canyon. At last check, it was 30% contained, but right now multiple agencies are battling this blaze. It started yesterday afternoon about 2:30. Ruidoso municipal schools are canceled today as a precaution. We are staying on top of the very latest on the flames and all that their firefighters are doing to put it out all day. We're going to make sure you're updated on air and on the KRQE News app. Kristen Curry is tracking the change coming in the winds that I talked about and also the increase in fire danger. Kristen?
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, fire danger continuing to rise through the next couple of days. Really, today's going to be that pivotal point when it comes to the winds, the low humidity. I wanted to take it down there now to show you what firefighters faced this morning. Sustained speeds already up to about 24 miles per hour, gusts closer to 30, 35, but you'll notice today's winds put us in the mid-30s when it comes to sustained speeds, meaning our wind gusts we bumped up to about 40 to 55. So unfortunately, the winds will be a lot stronger today compared to anything we saw yesterday, and the dry conditions certainly not going to help either. When it comes to the statewide winds, we're breezy in some parts, not miserable though. I mean, even here in the metro, winds down to about 12 miles per hour. That's nothing compared to what I expect them to be later on this afternoon. So it's going to be a repeat day of the blowing dust, the high pollen levels. You'll notice the temperatures, nothing we really have to be too concerned about as we're back to the mild numbers in the upper 60s. But the high fire danger will be our top concern. Another focus today, the rain and snow that some of us face as a cold front gets in here tonight. So details and look at that full forecast here in about 15 minutes.
All right, Kristen, thank you. Time now 6:02. Happening right now, a traffic headache for one of the worst areas in the city. This is worst areas for traffic in the city. A live look at Louisiana and I-40, where crews are out starting on a month-long project. They closed the off-ramp at Louisiana and I-40 around midnight, and the plan is to add a third turn lane at the exit. DOT is asking drivers to use side roads during this month-long closure or even take the exit before or after. This is the second major phase in a project to help ease heavy traffic and also repair crumbling cracks in the ground. And before this, crews shut down the eastbound I-40 on-ramp. That's back open, but the exit there, the off-ramp from I-40 onto Louisiana, is expected to be closed, as I said, for about the next month. We'll turn to breaking news this morning. Authorities in Egypt now reportedly say that a hijacker who took several people hostage on a plane is now in police custody. This after hours of sitting on the tarmac in Cyprus as negotiators worked with a man who claimed to have had a bomb. The live look now, we'll turn to that from Cyprus, where the Egypt Airlines plane is now on the tarmac. But it originally took off from Alexandria, Egypt, and was heading to Cairo, forced to land in Cyprus eventually. As we mentioned just moments ago, authorities there released a statement saying that the hijacker, an Egyptian American, has been arrested. As many as 80 people were on board, but according to the airline, he's let everybody off the plane, or didn't let everybody off the plane earlier, except for a few foreigners and the flight crew. It's unclear at this point what his demands were during all of the negotiations, but officials in Cyprus did say that he was upset about a domestic dispute and that the incident is not related to terrorism. We are continuing to monitor all of this as it kind of is fresh into our newsroom here in the last few minutes. We'll have more developments as soon as they happen on air. Any new information, we'll pass it along to you. On to this. Coming up short, in several hours, Bernalillo County commissioners will begin reviewing each department's needs and wishes for the next 2 years. The thing is, there likely won't be enough money to go around. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is here with more on what this could mean for you. Catherine?
That's right. In fact, Adam, you'll have a chance to weigh in on this budget document. To be clear, though, none of these numbers have been approved and they won't be approved today. But some commissioners say it's time we take a hard look at these numbers and prepare to make serious cuts.
We need to make sure that we look at what we're doing and prioritize our spending. You can't really tax your way out of a spending problem.
Commissioner Wayne Johnson says the county is expected to bring in just over $250 million in revenue. But he says if staff were to check off everything on their wish list, that number would be closer to $300 million. The budget's been tight for a while. According to county documents, general fund has been on the decline since 2012. Commissioner Johnson says up until now, we've been able to tap into reserves to make up for that. But this year, he says the county can't afford it. Reserves are just too low. It's why the commission has its eye on the general fund.
The reserves are gone at this point. So we have to bite the bullet and really do what you do at home. Get away from the frills.
There is some good news in all this. Commissioner Johnson says with lower interest rates, the county has been able to restructure its debt. That means its bonding capacity and money to support bonds are up. Back to you.
All right, Catherine, thank you. That meeting is today at 9 a.m. in the City County building. That's right off Civic Plaza. Public comment is welcome, but they add that this could be a two-day discussion. Former UFC champ John Bones Jones is facing more traffic citations this morning after a heated conversation with an officer who pulled him over last week. Albuquerque police lapel video shows Jones at about 11:45 one night last week on Central near I-25. APD gave him 5 citations, including for drag racing, even for his license plate frame covering up his registration sticker.
How do you sleep with yourself?
Well, you're lucky you're not going to jail tonight for reckless driving.
For what? For reckless driving? Yeah, right. Nice try. Sure, I'm lucky. I'm not lucky about.
I can tell you've got an interlock in your car.
Just one day earlier, we saw Jones in court taking a plea deal to make some traffic citations that he had racked up go away, as long as he follows the rules for 90 days. Jones is already on probation doing community service after a hit-and-run crash last year that left a pregnant woman injured. This time, Jones says he regrets how he spoke to the officer, but he plans to fight those citations. Jones has a traffic arraignment set for next week. 6:07 and developing this morning, 2 people accused of murder remained behind bars this morning, one of them in Albuquerque, as we're learning more about how authorities tracked them down.
We can now review the file. I'm going to make a finding that it's been, it's unsealed, which means you can review it as well, counsel.
Police say Veronica Trimble and Matthew Chavez shot and killed 24-year-old Army veteran Tyler Lackey near Gibson and Yale during an attempted robbery in February. The two then fled the state. U.S. Marshals caught them in Oklahoma almost a month later. The unsealed police report shows multiple people called police to tip them off to Chavez and Trimble, including a family member. It also says the pair tried to convince Lackey that the attempted robbery was a joke before firing on him. Trimble is jailed at MDC on a $1 million cash-only bond. Chavez remains in Oklahoma on a no-bond hold after he pleaded not guilty to a robbery there while on the run. Opening arguments in the trial for a man charged with killing a 14-month-old baby could happen as early as today. Christopher Garcia is charged with child abuse in the death. Investigators say the baby was taken to UNMH with a brain bleed and bruises all over his body. According to the criminal complaint, the boy's mother, Carmina Vargas, told police that she left the baby with her friends, Christopher Garcia and Lizzie Portillo. The two said the baby fell off the bed, but that Portillo shook him several minutes afterward. All 3 are charged with child abuse. Jury selection for Garcia's trial began yesterday. The search continues this morning for 2 more people who Roswell police say stole a city landmark. Police have arrested 1 teen in connection with the theft. This video was released last week showing 3 people stealing the saucer, the UFO, from Roswell's International UFO Museum. It was found the next day, smashed into pieces just outside of town. Police are not releasing the 17-year-old's name because he's a juvenile. This morning, the legal battle between Apple and the government is now over after the FBI withdrew its lawsuit, saying agents finally hacked into the iPhone of a terror suspect themselves. The Justice Department won't disclose the third party that reportedly helped unlock the iPhone of one of the San Bernardino terrorists. A judge had ordered Apple to help the FBI gain access into the phone, but the company refused. While the lawsuit may be over, the tech giant says it remains committed to participating in a national discussion about civil liberties. A Lyft driver is off the job this morning, accused of making offensive remarks about Muslims to his passengers.
You told me in a cab that I'm paying for that Muslims are pieces of
Muslims are pieces of
Oh, good. Please tell me some more about how you feel, man.
Samuel Grenny says he alerted Lyft about the Utah driver after recording him go off for several minutes. Within 24 hours, the company sent him an apology and a refund. Lyft also released a statement in which they said that the driver had been permanently removed. Coming up on KRQE News 13 this morning, a confrontation outside a car.
They don't give about you. They don't give two. There's 50 of you, and there's one of me.
A college student loses his cool, what he claims caused this, and how his school and police are responding today. Plus, a change for your morning commute. The new spot orange barrels are up at one of the busiest interchanges in Albuquerque, and why you may have to find a new way to work or to shop today. And active firefight. A district cancels classes this morning over a blaze burning near Ruidoso. The progress they're making so far. Morning, everybody. 5:30 here on KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Adam Atchison. It's Tuesday, March 29th, and firefighters will be back on the front lines of this fire burning in Ruidoso this morning, hoping to fully contain it before the winds pick up today. All schools in the Ruidoso Municipal School District are closed today, and as of now, there have not been any evacuations ordered for the Moon Mountain fire yet, but authorities say they may be coming. The fire is currently burning about 175 acres above Gavilan Canyon. At last check, it was 30% contained. Fire crews say they have made successful airdrops. More are expected today. Right now, multiple agencies are battling the blaze, which started yesterday afternoon around 2:30. Kristen Curry is tracking the change coming in the winds today and the fire danger. It's all expected to pick up, right, Kristen?
That's exactly right, Adam. Yesterday afternoon wasn't easy for firefighters either. We did see the winds pick up in and around Ruidoso, but they will be a lot worse later this afternoon. So let's get started with where they are now. Sustained speeds over 20 miles per hour. That's certainly not going to help, but take a look at today's wind. As by lunchtime, I expect winds to be over 30, and then later on into the afternoon, sustained speeds over 35, meaning our wind gusts will be about 40 to 50 in that area. So unfortunately, we're extremely dry out there. We're talking gusty winds, low humidity. Firefighters are going to have a tough time battling that Moon Mountain fire today. And it's not just down across the southeast either. This is about as light as winds will be today, as I expect everyone to see gusty winds towards the later part of this afternoon. Temperature is slightly cooler than what we had yesterday, still leaves us in the upper 60s underneath that partly sunny sky, but I'm not too concerned about the temperatures. It's more so the high fire danger, the blowing dust, and even a cold front getting in here that will mean rain and snow for some. So a lot going on in that forecast. I'll break down what you need to know for your neighborhood coming up.
We're going to move on to breaking news this morning. Negotiators are still working with a hijacker at this hour who's taken over an Egypt airplane. That plane took off from Alexandria, Egypt, and was heading to Cairo, but was forced to land in Cyprus in the overnight hours. Authorities say the hijacker is an Egyptian American. According to the airline, he has let everyone off the plane except for 3 foreigners and the flight crew. Officials in Cyprus say he's upset about a domestic dispute and that this incident is not related to terrorism. We are monitoring the very latest right now in our newsroom. We're going to have updated developments on air as soon as they happen this morning. As you wake up today, another part of one of the city's busiest interchanges is closed, and it could affect your morning drive. Crews are working on the eastbound I-40 off-ramp at the Louisiana exit, and that's where we join News 13's Sarah Yingling live right where construction is now underway. Sarah?
Well, Adam, if you're planning on going shopping in this area, I suggest you find another route for at least the next 30 days. Now take a look at this video just sent into the newsroom. Crews were out here shutting down the eastbound off-ramp overnight at midnight. The plan is to add a 3rd turn lane at the exit. This is the second major phase in the project to help ease heavy traffic and also repair crumbling cracks in the ground. Before this, crews shut down the westbound I-40 on-ramp, but drivers know this latest closure is where the real headache begins.
It's a very populated area, and even without closing, it's already pretty busy.
I think for a lot of people it will be a problem.
Now, DOT is asking drivers to use back roads during the month-long closure, and as a last resort, use the exits before or after the Louisiana ramp. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Louisiana northbound and southbound across I-40 will stay open during the construction. We'll keep you posted on all the developments on the KRQE News app. The district attorney's office is now weighing whether to charge a UNM Lobo football player with rape. UNM police say they've handed over their investigation to the DA. A 19-year-old female student told police that Nias Martin held her down and raped her, telling her, "Don't fight it, I'm stronger than you are." Police say when investigators confronted Martin with his own text messages, he admitted to having sex with her while she repeatedly told him no and stop. Since charges have not been filed, Martin is still on the football team today. The former Albuquerque Police Union president is no longer facing child abuse charges this morning. Officer Stephanie Lopez was accused of hitting her 14-year-old daughter several times in the face and throwing her to the floor over a utility notice back in December. The state dropped the charges, saying that prosecutors need more time to investigate. The DA, though, could eventually refile those charges. A former senator accused of using his position for personal business is expected in court next week. Meanwhile, a judge has finally agreed to handle the case for former Senator Phil Griego. This after 7 other judges recused themselves. The case has been assigned to Judge Sarah Singleton. She's number 8. Griego faces 10 criminal counts of fraud and bribery over a real estate deal. Griego, who resigned abruptly last year, allegedly used his office to make money involving the sale of this historic state building in Santa Fe that's located on prime real estate. He tells News 13 he did nothing wrong. 5:36, if you or your child have dodged the flu so far this season, you may have to hold on a little longer now. State health workers say the flu season will stick around longer this year. According to the Department of Health, the flu season started later than in previous seasons, but they've seen an increase in cases in recent weeks. The good news is, though, the department says the flu vaccine appears to be a good match with strains that are circulating. That means getting the vaccine could reduce your risk of getting the flu by up to 60%. Pretty good odds. Happening today, the 2016 presidential candidates will campaign across Wisconsin ahead of the state's primary coming up next Tuesday. Protesters are already planning to disrupt one of Donald Trump's scheduled stops. Dozens staged a sit-in in the lobby of a Janesville hotel yesterday, calling on the manager to cancel Trump's scheduled visit there today. Meanwhile, Ted Cruz is expected to pick up the endorsement of Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker today. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders believes that he can still win the nomination. He says he's counting on young voters to deliver him an upset over Clinton in Wisconsin. Also happening today, President Obama is expected in Atlanta to talk about the country's growing pill problem. In 2014, more than 29,000 people's deaths were linked to opioid abuse. That's the highest number on record. The Obama administration is asking for over $1 billion to deal with the issue. It has proposed to increase medication-based treatment for people dealing with addictions. And new this morning, Campbell's Soup is promising to take BPA out of its can linings by mid-2017. There are concerns that the commonly used chemical has been linked to a rise in cancer risk, brain damage, and hormonal problems. However, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration maintains that BPA is safe at the current levels used in food. This morning, police and a University of Michigan fraternity are investigating an on-camera rant by a student.
You Arthur, you little You want to kick me off? Kick me off, you little You're an Uber driver. Go drive, you little
That video posted to YouTube by an Uber driver is going viral now. It's also landed that UNM student seen yelling at the driver in a lot of trouble. The driver says the insults began when he refused to give the student a ride. According to the Detroit Free Press, the student claims the driver made an offensive comment and refused to pick him up because of his religion. He also says that he regrets his choice of words. He faces expulsion, possible expulsion from his fraternity this morning, and we'll see what else develops from police.